Hello, so this is my 10th recorded video now. The months are flying by, so I hope you are managing to make use of them, both the longer ones and the shorter ones I've been doing as well, that have been sent out to some people. So the equipment that you will need today is something replacement blocks to sit on, whatever you've got around the house that you can use instead. Replacement bricks, so you can use firm books or something, and a belt, and also a bolster. So I realise that most people won't have bolsters lying around the house, so you can use a couple of firm rolled up towels instead of around that size. You can always strap those up as well if they tend to unroll. So this video is an hour long. You don't need to allow extra time for inversions, as there are no inversions today. We're doing, again, focusing on the seated poses and forward bends. So stretching the back of the legs, opening the hips, but also from a mental point of view, forward bends are quiet and calming poses. So hopefully you should feel the benefit and feel that quietness after this practice. So begin now just by sitting on your supports, so high enough to bring the knees down so that they're level with or slightly lower than your hips. Okay, and don't be afraid to use as much height as you need to bring the knees down. If you do struggle with this at the beginning, so if cross legs is an issue for either your knees or your hips, you can either just switch your feet round to the side and sit in Virasana, so the knees are together, the feet are either side of the hips, if that's appropriate, again for your knees. If it's not, you can just stretch your legs out straight instead. Or you can do this sitting on a chair. So if anybody really struggles with sitting up straight, you can also, for the time being, it's not ideal because of course we want the back muscles to strengthen, but you can do, if you find that sitting for a couple of minutes like this causes your back to ache a lot, you can begin by sitting with your back against a wall. And that does give you that consciousness of keeping the alignment of the spine as well, or for beginners really. So just move the buttock flesh out to the side and just allow your legs to relax. So the ankles, the feet relaxed, just allowing the knees to release downwards. And then without disturbing the legs, use your thumbs on your supports behind you, or fingertips if you're sitting on something broader. Extend your spine upwards and just feel the position of your head, so bring your chin back slightly so the back of the neck's long, so your head is level, your eyes looking straight forwards, and then roll your shoulders back, then release your shoulders down. So just allowing the shoulder blades to release down the back, the trapezius muscle to soften down towards the back waist, and then just gently closing your eyes. Take a moment or two now just to observe your body. So just being aware whether the legs are comfortable, so we're a little more sensitive to the body with the eyes closed. And do make any adjustments if you're not comfortable. And just bringing your awareness to your sitting bones, so find where you're sitting evenly balanced over both sitting bones. You're not leaning forwards or backwards. The outer shoulders back, the chest lifted, and then try not to disturb that now as you join your hands. So bringing the base of the thumbs to connect to the chest bone. And just being aware of your hands, so check that you're not pressing the hands and creating tension in the upper arms. Hands just connecting gently. The eyes releasing downwards behind your eyelids. And allowing the face to soften. And then begin to connect to your breath now. So observing how you're breathing, the quality of your breath. Bringing your breath gradually into a smooth, steady rhythm. And observing the flow of the breath as it passes in and out through the nose. Noticing your breath gradually becoming a little bit slower and quieter. So as your eyes quieten, as your breath quietens, your mind also becomes quieter. So keep your chest bone lifting up now as you bow your head down. Then release your hands, just rest the back of your hands onto your legs. Open your eyes towards the floor slowly. Slowly raise your eyes and your head back to level again. Okay, so as you are already sitting, so interlock your fingers, so turn your palms, and so open the palms, push the base of the fingers away from you. So try and keep that openness as you take your arms up into Parvatasana. So watching that you don't push the lower back forwards as the arms come up. Again, open your palms and draw the upper arms in towards your ears. Just being conscious of the length on the sides of your body. So as you lower your arms down, watch that you don't lose that length. So the chest stays open. So we're just going to turn around to your right side. So using your right hand behind you and your left hand on your knee. Just lengthen your spine upwards again. So turn your chest bone towards your back shoulder. Come back to face forwards. Again, make sure that you've not begun to collapse. The chest lifted, your shoulders back. Change the interlock of your fingers over. Bring the other little finger onto the bottom. Turn your palms and stretch your arms up again. And so palms open, draw the upper arms in, head level, then bring your arms down, turn to your left side. And so see that the back ribs are moving into your body. So turn the chest bone towards your back shoulder. And then come back to face forwards. So we're going to come forwards in cross legs now. So we'll come down onto the floor, but if you find that your knees are very high when you're on the floor, or your lower back is dropping, then stay sitting on height. So bring your thumbs into the top of your legs. So lift your chest and roll your shoulders back, and then begin to come forwards. So just pressing down with your thumbs as you come forwards. Now as you stretch the arms forward, just watch that your you don't roll forwards. Keep the sitting bones firmly down and let your head release downwards. So we'll just take a few breaths there. So notice what you feel in the knees, the hips. So if there is any pinching, any pain in the knees, just stretch your legs out wide instead. So walk your hands back in. So just come back up to sitting. And then change the cross of your legs over. So come back to your first interlock, your automatic interlock. Turn your palms. So open your palms. Stretch your arms back up again. And just watch that you don't push your head forwards. So keep the head level, back of the neck long, back of the neck relaxed. So draw the upper arms in. And then bring your arms down. Again, watching that we don't collapse there. Collapse the chest. So chest lifted, shoulders back. Just turn round to your right again. So be on the fingertips of your back hand so that you can use the back fingertips to lift away from. So turn your chest bone towards the back shoulder. And then come back to face forwards. Again, keeping that lift, openness. Change your interlock over once more. Bring the other little finger onto the bottom. So turn your palms and then stretch back up. To open your palms, draw the upper arms in. Arms back. So keep the lift as you bring your arms down and turn to your left side. And so lift away from the back fingertips, move the back ribs in and turn the chest bone towards your back shoulder. Okay, and then come back to face forwards. So bring your thumbs back into the top of the legs. So lift your chest and roll the shoulders back. Then bring yourself forwards from there. Then stretch your arms forward and just let your head release downwards. So notice what you feel in the hips now that we've changed the cross of the legs. Just see if you can creep your hands a little further forwards so you feel the stretch into your lower back. Okay, and then walk your hands in towards you to bring yourself back up to sitting. So just carefully stretch your legs out now into Dandasana. So join your inner feet together, just stretch your legs for a moment. And press your thighs down towards the floor. Just allow your knees to realign. Okay, so when you're ready, so we're going to sit back on your heels next. So come forwards in Adho Mukha Vrasana. So if you can't sit directly on your heels, take something on top of your heels. So we've got the big toes together, knees wide. So just sit back first of all so that you're firmly on your heels or on your supports. Now watch that you keep that firmness now as you come forwards. So if your head doesn't come to the floor, then take something underneath your head. So extend your arms, have your hands at least as wide as your shoulders. If you struggle to straighten your elbows, just go a little wider with your hands. Put fingers spread, elbows locked. So the lower back is stretching towards your heels. And just gradually see if your hands will creep a little further forward. So you're not pulling yourself forwards. just creating more length through the sides of your body. Okay, and then just bring yourself forwards onto your hands and knees from there. So coming into dog down. So if you take your little fingers, little toes to the outer edges of your mat for this first one. So your middle fingers facing forwards, just spread the fingers first of all and press the base of your fingers into the mat. Then push up from there. So come into dog down. So just be up on the balls of the feet for a moment to begin with. So get the length from the hands to the outer hips. So the shoulders are lifting away from the ears. So lift your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. Now keep that height in the sitting bones as you begin to stretch your heels down towards the floor. So, and then push your thighs back so the back of the knees are open. So stretch the front of your shins back. And then from there, bend your knees and walk your feet forwards to come into Uttanasana. So this is where, so if you can't reach the floor easily, take whatever you're using instead of bricks for your hands. So you're starting off with the hands underneath your shoulders and going wide with your feet. So line up the little toe side of your feet to cover the outer edges of your mat. And then, so just bring the hips back, take the weight to the heels for a moment, lift right up onto your heels, spread your toes. So lengthen and broaden your feet as you bring them down. And then just find where your weight is centered evenly over the feet. So if you just let your hips shift slightly forwards and backwards, and then find where you're centered evenly over the toe pads and the heel. So the kneecaps are lifted. So without disturbing the weight in the feet now, just hold your elbows, take your thumb into the crease of the opposite elbow and just allow your body to hang down. So just let your head release downwards, so the crown of the head's facing the floor, and just letting the neck release. So if you find it difficult to let go with your neck, just take your hands into the back of the neck and draw the base of your skull towards the floor to release the neck. So let your side ribs release downwards. Okay, and then coming back to dog down, so bend your knees. So you're placing the hands shoulder width apart this time, so spread the fingers. Step your feet back to dog down. So take your feet to hip distance apart this time. And again, just be up on the balls of the feet for a moment to begin with. So press your hands. So you're stretching the outer hips away from the hands. Just getting the length along your side ribs. So lift your sitting bones. So lift your back thighs up towards the ceiling. Now just be conscious of there, try not to let the sitting bones, the back thighs drop as you stretch your heels down towards the floor. And push back with your thighs. Okay, so just bring your knees back onto the floor now. Come back to your heels, stretch forwards into Adho Mukha Vrasana. So just walk your hands back in towards you to come up to sitting. Okay, so we're going to just lie and stretch the legs in the belt next. So make sure that you've got space to either side because we'll be taking the leg out to the side as well. So if you just come and lie on your back, bring your right foot up into the belt. So bring your leg so it's at a 90-degree angle to your body. And we're just taking the belt around the toe pads there. So walk your hands along the belt until your arms are straight. So now use your belt just to draw the toe pads down towards you. And push the front thigh away from your body, so the back of the knees open. So you're pushing the front thigh towards the back thigh. And then without disturbing that leg, stretch your left leg out straight. Then roll the left inner thigh towards the floor, so you're on the centre back of the heel, but press your left thigh. And then just begin to see if you can gradually bring the leg a little bit further over. And then push the front thigh away from you again. So press your left thigh towards the floor. So without force or strain, make sure that the hands stay relaxed as well. Okay, so bring your leg back to 90 degrees, then change your legs over. Bring your left foot up to join the right and stretch your right leg straight out. So again, start at 90 degrees. So draw the ball of the foot down towards you, so the heel stretching upwards. So push your front thigh towards the back thigh. And roll the right inner thigh towards the floor, so press your right thigh. And then just begin to bring the leg a little bit further over. So again, push your front thigh away, so press your right thigh. Then take your leg back to 90, so we're going to change legs over again. And take the leg out to the side and stretch the inner leg now. So we're just going to bring that left foot a little further to the left, about level with the outer hip. And then first of all, we're just going to hold your belt in your left hand. So use your thumb to move the right outer hip away from the waist. So as you remove your thumb, watch that hip doesn't immediately spring up and shorten the waist again. So you're going to hold your belt in your right hand. So push the thigh away from you first of all. And work the floor leg, so press your left thigh towards the floor. So keep the foot in line with the hip now, just begin to slowly take your leg out to the side. And then so bring your elbow onto the floor, so let your hand slide back along the belt if you need to. So again, push your thigh away. Then just see if you can bring your foot a little bit higher towards its own shoulder. So you can use your left hand on the front of your left hip, see if you can anchor that hip down. Okay, so bend your knee, bring your leg back up, then change your legs over again. Okay, so we're going to bring this right foot a little further to the right, about level with your outer hip. So hold your belt in your right hand for a moment. So use your left thumb into the outer hip on your left side. So you're hooking the outer hip away from the waist. Now swap hands. So push the thigh away from you, then begin to slowly take your leg out sideways. Okay, but working the floor leg to stop yourself from rolling, so really press your right thigh, so press the back of the heel. And then bring your elbow down to the floor. Then you can see, can you bring the foot a little higher towards the shoulder? push your thigh away so you're not beginning to bend the knee. Okay, so just bend your knee to bring your leg back up, and then draw the foot over towards your face to lengthen your lower back. Then bend your knee and just come down as the pose and rest your legs. So bend your legs, take your feet wide on your mat, rest your knees together. So notice how your legs feel, just checking in with your body. Okay, so just bring your feet back together, turn yourself to the side. So we're just going to turn over onto your hands and knees and come into dog down. So start off with the knees directly under your hips, your hands further forward of your shoulders. So spread your fingers. Just push up into dog down from there. Again, so stretching back from the hands to the outer hips. And again, we'll just lift your heels for a moment now, so get the lift of your sitting bones, and then try and keep that as you stretch your heels back down. And just see if your heels are starting to come a little closer towards the floor now. We'll push your thighs back. And then from there, if you bend your knees, walk your feet forwards to come into Uttanasana. So again, if you need your bricks, just bring your bricks so your hands are under your shoulders. So we're taking the feet hip distance apart now, so bring the inner feet parallel with each other. So roll the inner thighs back and push your thighs back. Just look forwards and extend your spine forwards. Now if you've got your hands on bricks, then just work in this position, work on extending your spine forwards, lifting your outer shoulders away from the floor. So if you've got your hands on the floor, then from there we'll just walk your hands back to outside your feet. So bring the lower ribs towards your legs and let your head release down. But see that the kneecaps are pulled up. So if you struggle to straighten the knee, raise your body up a little. Okay, then bring your hands back to underneath your shoulders. Just look forwards, extend your spine forwards again before you slowly come up. Okay, so we're going to do another standing forward bend next. So we're going to do Padangusthasana. So I'll just show you first of all. So we're holding the big toes, so you should get a good view of my side ribs from here. Okay, so I'm pulling on, and hopefully you'll see this movement. So as I pull on the big toes, you'll see the back ribs moving and the chest, the spine extends forward. And then, so from there, so on an exhalation, you widen your elbows and go down. Okay, now if you know that you can't reach the floor with the knees straight, if you take your belt instead and have that so it's underneath the big toe and coming up the inside of the big toe. So you will hold your belt and just extend forwards. Okay, so let's come into it from standing first of all. So if you just come up to Uttanasana. So press your feet so the leg muscles are pulled up all the way up to the top. So draw up through your spine, shoulders back, chest lifted. Stretch your arms. So turn the palms to face forwards and bend from the top of the legs to come forwards. And then you're going to either catch hold of your big toes or take hold of your belt.
So if you're holding the big toes, you're going to take your index finger and middle finger around the inside of the big toe and the thumb round the outside. But we want the inner elbows to be facing forwards. Okay, now you're pulling on the big toes. So move the back ribs into the body. So lift the outer shoulders away from the floor. And so the thighs are pushing back, your spine is extending forwards. Now if you're working with your belt, you'll just work there. If you've got hold of your big toes, from there, exhale, widen your elbows out to the side and come forwards. And just let your head release downwards. And so let the neck release. So if you're working with the belt though, keep looking forward. So as soon as you take the head down, you'll begin to round the back and collapse the chest. So if you're working with the belt and extending your spine, keep looking forwards as long as that's comfortable on your neck. Okay, and then from there, just if you've come forwards, inhale, look forwards, just release your hands, and then from there we're going to come back to dog down. So just move your belt out of the way if you were using one. So bring your hands flat, so spread the fingers, step your feet back and come back to dog down. So see that your feet are pointing straight back. So you're stretching the heels down towards the floor, so notice each time we do dog down, does it feel a little easier on the legs? So thighs are pushing back, shins are stretching back. Okay, then just bring your knees back onto the floor, come back to your heels and stretch forwards into Adho Mukha Vrasana. Then walk your hands back in and come up. Okay, so we are going to sit in Virasana next here at this pose. So make sure that you have plenty of support to sit on if you need it. Okay, so if you start off from coming up to kneeling, so we're going to be sitting in between the feet. So obviously I'm not sure who is exactly doing the videos. If you have any knee problems and this isn't appropriate for your legs, you can just sit on a chair for this and sit with your legs at a 90-degree angle, making sure that your feet are flat on the floor. So take something underneath your feet if the chair's high. Okay, so the knees are together, feet are apart. Now we're just going to take your fingers into the back of the knees there. So pull the flesh away from the back of the knee so that you're making space. So, don't force it with your knees. Take as much height as you need to sit on. So same as last week, we're going to be doing this, sitting like this a couple of times. So you can take more support to sit on to start with and then go lower if it feels a little bit easier. Okay, so just check if you use your hands under the top of the feet to stretch the top of the feet and bring your feet so they're pointing straight back. Okay, and then interlock your fingers, turn the palms and stretch your arms up, Parvatasana. So palms open. So draw the upper arms in. Take a couple of breaths. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, bring the arms back. Okay, now watch that you keep that lifted spine as you lower your arms and then turn to your right side, sorry. So if you're sat on the floor, if you're sat quite high, you might need something for your backhand. If you're sat on the floor, watch that. You keep a bend in that elbow so that you're not lifting the shoulder higher. But use your other hand on the outer calf. Take a couple of breaths there. As you inhale, lengthen upwards. As you exhale, move your chest bone towards your back shoulder. And you might need to loosen up a little to take an inhalation. On your exhalation, chest bone towards your back shoulder. So come back to face forwards. Again, as we come forwards, watch we don't collapse. The chest stays open, lifted. Change the interlock of your fingers over. So you've got a way you automatically go to. Just change and bring your other little finger onto the bottom. So turn your palms. Stretch your arms up. And so palms open. So draw the upper arms in. Arms back. Then bring your arms down and turn to your left side. And just take a couple of breaths there. So inhale, lengthen upwards. Exhale, move the chest bone towards your back shoulder. And then just bring yourself back to face forwards and just release your legs straight out. Bringing your legs into Dandasana to stretch them. So we're going to come forwards into Paschimottanasana next. I'll turn around to the side so that you can see my back. So just begin by moving the buttock flesh out to the side and out behind you. So you want to feel that your back thighs are stretching towards the back edge of your mat. Now, if when you're sitting on the floor, your lower back drops, the pelvis tilts backwards, do sit on some height. Make sure you've got your belt as well. So we're just going to separate your feet slightly there and use your fingertips behind you to lift your lower back and move your back ribs in. Then stretch your arms up, so come forwards and catch hold of your feet. So it will take your belt around your feet if you can't reach the feet easily. Now press your thighs down towards the floor. Yeah, and lift the chest bone. So lift your lower ribs. Lift your side ribs. Okay, and outer shoulders are back. So if your shoulders are pulled forward, and just give yourself a little bit of belt to use to bring the outer shoulders back so your collarbones are open. Now if you're working with your belt, just stay and work on, again, moving your back ribs in, lifting your side ribs, lifting your chest. If you've got hold of the feet, exhale, widen your elbows out and come forwards. So press your thighs down towards the floor and just take a couple of breaths there. So as you inhale, move the side ribs forward. As you exhale, just allow your back ribs to soften towards the floor. Okay, but keep the elbows raised and your hands relaxed. So watch that you're not pulling and tense with your hands to harden your back. So inhale, raise your head, lift your side ribs and come up. Okay, so we're going to just bring your right leg into a Virasana leg. Now, so if this movement isn't appropriate for your knee, you can either just repeat this Paschimottanasana with both legs stretched out, or you can do Gaynor instead and bring the knee out to the side, as long as that's okay on your knee. So otherwise we're just going to bring this leg up, and again just move your calf flesh away from the back of the knee, so make sure that you've got space there. And then we'll bring this foot to the side, and then just shift the buttock flesh out to the side on your straight leg side. So take that foot a little further to your left. Now if you can feel that you're heavier into your left sitting bone, just sit on some height. And then bring your fingertips behind you, lift your lower back, move your back ribs into the body, shoulders back. And then stretch your arms. And so as you're coming forwards, keep stretching up and watching that you're bending from the top of the legs. So the lower back is moving forwards with you. So catch hold of your foot or take your belt. Now, see that you're still leveling your sitting bones there. So lift your side ribs. So lift your lower ribs, lift your chest, shoulders back. And again, if you're holding your belt, just work there. If you're holding your foot, exhale, widen the elbows out, come forwards. So you're bringing the head down towards the inner shin. And again, check that you're not rolling to your left side. Keep the weight centered over both sitting bones. Inhale, lift the side ribs forward. Exhale, just allow your back ribs to soften towards the floor. Okay, and then inhale, raise your head and come up. So just carefully release that leg out straight and join your feet back together. Okay, and then we're going to change legs now. So bend your left leg at the knee. Again, so I'm using the thumb now to move the calf flesh away from the back of the knee. And then move the buttock flesh out to the side on your straight leg side. So if you're just leaning slightly, just that action may be enough to level you up. So take your right foot a little further to the right just for a bit more stability. Okay, now bring your fingertips behind you, lift your lower back, lengthen your spine upwards, move your back ribs in, and then stretch your arms. So come forwards and catch hold of your foot. Now keep the straight leg side pressing towards the floor. So lift your side ribs, lift your lower ribs, chest lifted, shoulders back. And then, so if you're holding the foot, exhale, widen your elbows outwards and come forwards. So as you inhale, move your side ribs forward towards the foot. As you exhale, just let your back ribs soften down. Elbows raised, hands relaxed. Then inhale, raise your head, release and come up. So just stretch your legs carefully out back into Dandasana for a moment. Okay, so we're just going to sit in Virasana again now. So I'm just going to turn back and face forwards. So knees together, take your feet apart, and again I'm using the fingers just to pull the flesh away from the back of the knee. And then take whatever you need to sit on. So it may feel a little easier this second time. But interlock your fingers, turn the palms, and stretch your arms up. So open the palms, draw the upper arms in, so lift your side ribs. So keep the length now as you lower your arms and turn to your right. So inhale, lengthen your spine upwards. Exhale, Turn the chest bone towards your back shoulder. And head level, so watch that you're not pulling and tensing your neck. Come back to face forwards. Change your interlock over once more. So turn your palms and then stretch your arms up. So open your palms, draw your upper arms in, lift your side ribs. So keep that length in the spine, lower your arms, twist to your left side. And inhale, lengthen your spine upwards. Exhale, move the chest bone towards your back shoulder. So sometimes we think in the back body in twists, sometimes we think in the front body. So moving chest bone to back shoulder. Okay, so just come back to face forwards now. And then carefully release your legs straight out again. And just stretch your legs in Dandasana. Okay. So I'm going to turn around to the side again. We're coming into another seated forward bend. Now take some height to sit on for this. So taking 2 blocks, so about the equivalent of 2 blocks, just to help you to lift and come forwards in this pose. So we're going to do Marikayasana 1. And just have your belt as well. So if you just tuck your belt in case you need it into the back of your pants, so it's easy to reach. So you're going to bend up your right knee. So if you bring the heel in line with its own sitting bone, and then so we're just going to hold around your knee now. So lengthen your spine upwards. So you're moving the back ribs into the body, shoulders are back. And then so we're just going to bring that knee out to the side to start with. Stretch your arms up. So lift your side ribs. And then so we're going to come forwards first and just catch hold of your foot. Now press your straight leg thigh. And again, we're just letting this knee come out to the side to bring the side ribs forward and the flesh forward. So if it helps, you can use your hand there to draw the flesh through. But lift your side ribs. And lift your chest. Okay, now hook that knee back in towards the side ribs. And then from there, just stretch forwards again beyond your foot. So you're going to turn the palms away as if you're doing breaststroke. You're just going to swing your arms around behind you and hold your fingers. Or if you can't reach your fingers, hopefully your belt should be easy access there. Okay, now lift the chest again, lift your side ribs. So draw the left shoulder blade forwards. And then exhale, lengthen forwards and bring your head towards your shin. So we're using your right arm to hook the knee into the side ribs. Just see if you can press the big toe side of that foot down. And draw your left shoulder blade forward so the shoulders are level. And then inhale, raise your head, look forwards. Release and come up. So just stretch your leg out straight. And then change legs. And just hold your shin to begin with. So lengthen your spine upwards, shoulders back. Back ribs in. And then just bring your knee out to the side. Stretch your arms up. So come forwards and catch hold of your foot or take your belt. So now lift the chest, lift your lower ribs, lift the side ribs. Hug the knee back into your side ribs now. And then so just stretch forwards even beyond your foot. And then turn your palms, swing the arms round and catch hold. And either of the fingers or of your belt. Okay, Okay, now lift the chest again, lift your side ribs. So draw the right shoulder blade forwards. Exhale, lengthen forwards and take your head towards your shin. Okay, and hug the left knee into your side ribs. And draw the right shoulder blade forwards, shoulders level. Then inhale, raise your head and release and come up. And then just carefully stretch your legs out. Okay, so we're going to do Malasana next. Now we'll need a bit of wall space for this. I'm just going to turn my mat round because after this we're going to be turning the mat round anyway. Now I'll just show you first of all, because I'll give you a different variation for anybody with knee problems. So you're just going to have your feet a few inches away from the wall and rest your lower back on the wall. And then you're just going to slide down the wall and stretch your arms forward. Okay, now if your heels don't stay down there, just have some support, the equivalent of a block or whatever you need to go underneath your heels. Okay, now if this one isn't going to be appropriate for your knees, take a good bit of height to sit on. So I'm going to use at least 4 blocks there. Maybe even more. Find what's appropriate for your knees. And then you'll just come forward so you've not got the pressure on the knees. You can also separate your feet if you need to. So you'll just have to find what feels right for your body there. Okay, so have your feet a few inches away from the wall and just bring the back of the hips onto the wall. So the inner feet are together. Then we're just going to slide the feet apart. In fact, we'll slide down and just come into a squatting position. And this is quite nice on your back. So your heels should be down there. So just on your lower back resting onto the wall. Okay, and then from there we're going to separate the knees. Now I think I'm a little far away from the wall there because I feel like I'm about to slide down it. So now if your heels are lifted, just take something underneath your heels. So you're going to separate the knees. Use your hands just to lift your side ribs and bring them forward through your legs, and then we're going to stretch your arms forward. Okay, and then you're hooking your knees back in towards your side ribs and just feeling that your sitting bones can drop down towards the floor. And then, so if you can, you're going to take your upper arms against your shin and just bring your hands around the back of the ankles. So press the upper arms against your shins, lift your chest forwards, and then just take your head down towards the floor. Now, again, use your inhalations to move your side ribs forward. So with your exhalations, just let the back ribs soften down. Okay, and then inhale, raise your head. So to come out of this, we're just going to bring your hands behind you and lower yourself to the floor and stretch your legs out. I'm going to just sit back against the wall for a moment there. Stretch your legs in Dandasana. So you may feel your knees a little bit after that. Hopefully that should only last for a short time when we stretch the legs. Okay, so we're going to finish by taking your legs up the wall. So this is where we need the your bolster or equivalent of a bolster. So you're just going to have a little gap in between the bolster and the wall. So if you have a brick, it's just going to be the equivalent of take your brick there, or if you haven't, it's the equivalent gap of that. So you're just going to start with the side of the hip to the wall, so whichever way feels natural for you to go, and then you're just going to swing round and swing your legs up the wall and lower yourself down. Now if your hamstrings are tight, so if you struggle to keep your knees straight with your legs at a 90-degree angle to your body, you might just need to bring your equipment a little bit further back away from the wall. So join your inner feet together. So roll your shoulders under one at a time, just bring your shoulders down away from your ears. So you should feel that the tailbone's just dropping down in between the bolster and the wall over the other side of your bolster. So you don't want to feel too strong a stretch on the legs, as this is a restorative pose, so if it is strong on your legs again, just bring yourself a bit further away. So you can either rest your arms out sideways or rest your lower ribs, hands onto your lower ribs. So draw the chin towards your chest. So resting the hands on your lower ribs helps if you struggle to keep your mind connected to your breath. So it just does help to keep the mind there, that physical connection to the movement. But if you find you begin to feel a strain in the arms after a while, just rest your arms to the sides. So the inner feet are together, pressing your thighs towards the wall but not working your legs to the maximum now. So this is a nice restful pose because we've done a lot of leg stretches. It's nice and restful on the legs. Also very quietening to the brain as well. So have your eyes behind your eyelids, just looking towards your chest. So the eyelids are long and soft. The throat soft. And just observe the breath at your lower ribs. Just observing the lateral movement of the lower ribs with the breath. Slowly come away from the wall next. So if you just bring your feet flat onto the wall, so press your feet into the wall to push back off your block. So you're bringing the back of the hips onto the floor and just bring your legs into cross legs on top of your support. Just change the cross of your legs over. feet onto your bolster. So we're just going to push yourself all the way back now to stretch out for the last couple of minutes. Now if you want to, you can just roll that bolster and bring that underneath the back of your knees. So particularly if there's any lower back issues, but it's also quite nice for the legs as well. So just make sure that you've lengthened your lower back. So just bring your hands into the back of the hips and stretch the back of the hips towards the wall. And rest your arms out to the side. Make sure that you've no equipment. Just kick anything out of your way. Move it with your hands if it's close by behind, close beside you. Lift your shoulders one at a time. Roll your shoulders under. So you're bringing the shoulders down away from your ears. And just let the arms rest gently. The back of your hands rest onto the floor. And your fingers gently curl towards your palms. So the shoulders relaxed. Just allow your outer shoulders to drop towards the floor and soften. So with the bolster underneath the back of the knees, the lower back should release quite easily. The muscles, lower back muscles, just releasing into the floor. And make sure that your head is level, the chin, the forehead. Your throat soft. So lower jaw, releasing slightly away from the upper jaw. Tongue soft. And just observing your breath. So breathing smooth, steady. Just observing the movement of the inhalation, the exhalation. Steady breathing. And then just begin to take a few deeper inhalations. And when you're ready, just bring your arms into your body, bend your knees, so turn over to your right, and just rest there for a moment or two. So take your upper arm underneath your head, so the head's supported, your neck's in line with the spine. And from there, use your left hand on the floor and just slowly lift back up to sitting, keeping your eyes closed as you come up. So you can just come and sit back in cross legs. You can sit on your bolster if you want to, as it's there, or sit back on your heels, stretch your legs out however you're comfortable. But just let your hands rest onto your legs, extend your spine upwards, head level. And just take a moment to sit quietly. And notice how your body feels, but also feeling the mental benefits. So hopefully the mind should feel quiet. It may not, but hopefully it should.
say, it may not. Sometimes if we strain and push in forward bends, you might not get that full benefit of the quietness of the poses. So just join your hands together now. So bring the thumbs to the chest bone. Surrender your head down towards your heart. And then slowly open your eyes and slowly raise your eyes and your head at the same time.
Namaste.
Okay, so thank you to those who've joined me and taken part with the video today. You may have noticed Rosie, who's done a full hour's relaxation next to me. For anybody with particularly eagle eyes who wasn't lay down at the time, you may have noticed a lot of cat action around the room as well. Okay, so yeah, hope you've enjoyed it, hope you do feel the benefit, and see you next week.